The edges of our solar system had never felt so small. Then they arrived. Massive alien vessels, 12 in total, appeared without warning, hanging in the void like ominous, metallic vultures. Their hulls shimmered with a strange, almost liquid luster, reflecting starlight in a way no human eye had ever witnessed. Each ship stretched nearly 2 miles long, bristling with weapons capable of reducing entire planets to dust. Aboard the largest of these dark ships, Commander Velter of the Zepyrian Armada observed the third planet with cold yellow eyes. His scales shimmered faintly in the ambient light of his bridge. To his species, his twisted expression counted as a smile. The briefing flickered across his command screens. The galactic hegemony had dispatched his fleet to bring humans into submission. Every civilization eventually joined the hegemony, willingly or as ruins. Velter preferred the latter. It sent a message. "Sir, small vessels approaching our position," said the communications officer, a nervous gray-skinned creature with black, unblinking eyes. "They appear to be broadcasting some kind of greeting." Velter laughed, a harsh, grating sound. "Greeting?" His clawed hand waved dismissively. "How pathetic. These humans still cling to diplomacy. Ignore them. Broadcast our demand for unconditional surrender." Meanwhile, Captain Jake Morrison sat in the command chair of the Earth Defense Force vessel Guardian, watching the alien fleet hovering near Neptune. His stomach tightened, but his voice remained calm as he issued orders to his crew. Navigation, maintain current distance. Communications, continue attempts at peaceful contact. 15 years in space had hardened him, yet nothing prepared Jake for this. 12 alien warships, each larger and more advanced than anything humanity had ever built, waiting silently just beyond the outer planets. "Captain, they're responding," Lieutenant Betty Clark called from the communications station. Her hands trembled as she adjusted the controls. A cold, mechanical voice filled the bridge. Translation systems decoded it immediately. "Attention, primitive humans of the third planet. I am Commander Velter of the Zepyrian Armada, speaking for the galactic hegemony. Submit to our authority immediately. You have 72 standard time units to surrender unconditionally. Resistance will result in the total annihilation of your world and all colonies." Jake's spine tingled, yet he kept his expression neutral. "Lieutenant Clark, open a full-spectrum channel. Let them hear our response." "Channel open, sir." Jake leaned forward, voice steady. "Unknown vessels, this is Captain Jake Morrison of the Earth Defense Force. You have entered sovereign Terran space without permission. We are prepared to discuss peaceful relations, but we will not submit to foreign authority." Velter's laughter echoed across the void. "Sovereign space. Your primitive civilization claims ownership of a few rocks orbiting a minor star. Yet you speak of sovereignty. On Earth, Admiral Lisa Carter watched the alien fleet's position in the Strategic Command Center, her fingers tracing the complex network of displays. Around her, officers coordinated humanity's response with a practiced urgency. "Admiral, confirmed 12 hostile vessels," reported Colonel Jim Barnes. "Each approximately 3 times the size of our largest battleship. Energy readings indicate weapons and shielding beyond current human technology." Lisa's mind raced through contingency plans. Simulations had prepared her for this scenario, but seeing it unfold in reality was far more terrifying. Dr. Kevin Wright, xenobiology expert, entered, lab coat still marked with hours of analysis. "Admiral, their ship configurations indicate plasma-based weaponry and shields operating on gravitational manipulation. Conventional weapons cannot penetrate them. But, there are alternatives we might exploit." Out in space, Velter studied tactical displays of human movements. The humans were actually organizing a defense. The Zepyrian tactical officer, insectoid and multi-armed, chittered nervously. "Sir, humans are deploying defensive formations around their inner planets. About 40 ships, mostly patrol craft and converted transports." Velter's yellow eyes glinted. "Fascinating. They think they can fight us. He turned to his weapons officer. Target their moon with a low-yield plasma burst. Let them see real power. On Mars, Governor Amy Chin coordinated the evacuation of civilians. Through transparent aluminum windows, families hurried to shelters, faces tight with fear. Governor, Captain Rodriguez requests permission to take the defense fleet to assist Earth, reported her aide. Amy considered carefully. The Martian Defense Corps had 8 small ships, ineffective against the alien fleet, yet she granted permission once civilians were safe. Captain Tony Rodriguez's fleet, though modest, would now be humanity's contribution to the first contact that might decide the survival of their species. Captain Morrison maintained a delicate balance between diplomacy and preparation for combat. The next 72 hours would determine whether humanity would join the galaxy as equals, or be erased entirely. The Xiperian fleet's demonstration was brutal. Velter's flagship targeted the moon, plasma cannon charging, intent on terror and demonstration. Deep beneath the lunar surface, Dr. Susan Blake activated experimental kinetic barriers designed to test theoretical alien weapon designs. The plasma burst struck the invisible barrier and dispersed harmlessly into space. Confusion gripped the Xiperian bridge. "Sir, the plasma burst, deflected. Energy readings show a barrier around the human moon." Velter's scales tightened. Impossible. Humans lacked shield technology. Perhaps they found ancient ruins. Probe their defenses more carefully. The probe accelerated toward Earth, scanning installations. Captain Rick Foster, aboard a stealth fighter hidden behind satellites, prepared an ambush. All shadow fighters, execute attack pattern Delta. Hit and run only. Do not be detected. The human fighters struck with precision, destroying the probe before the aliens could respond. Velter's bridge filled with frustration. How? How did they destroy our probe so easily? Admiral Carter watched as humanity's preparations revealed themselves, hidden fleets, coordinated strikes, and advanced defenses. Automated stations, disguised as asteroids or planetary shadows, powered up for the first time. Humanity had been preparing for decades. In the asteroid belt, Captain Laura White activated industrial lasers aboard Titan's Hammer, repurposing mining vessels as war machines. Dar. Marcus Lee activated experimental EMP torpedoes, weapons never before tested in combat. Captain Angela Martinez led her squadron into the alien formation, carrying the EMP torpedoes designed to disable the Xiperian flagship. When fired, the weapons knocked out primary shields and weapons. Velter's command chair went dark. For the first time, he felt concern. Engineer Sam Johnson and his team interfaced with captured alien technology, exploiting weaknesses in Xiperian quantum systems. Captain Danny Brooks struck next with hybrid quantum torpedoes, destroying 2 alien vessels. Colonel Patricia Moore launched cyber attacks, infiltrating alien networks, disrupting coordination, making the fleet vulnerable. For the first time, Velter realized the humans were not disorganized. They had been preparing for this moment for years, studying alien technology, devising strategies, and hiding their full capabilities until now. The solar system had become a chessboard. Every planet, moon, and asteroid was a potential vantage point, every shadow a hiding place for human vessels. Commander Velter watched the tactical displays of his flagship, frustration sharpening his reptilian features. His fleet, once confident and unchallenged, was being systematically dismantled by forces he had considered primitive. "Sir, over 60 human vessels are converging on our position," reported the tactical officer, voice trembling. "They appear to have been hiding across the entire system." Velter's yellow eyes widened. These humans, they had been preparing for years. Every maneuver, every strike, every apparent act of desperation had been a calculated study. His mind raced through contingency plans. Every Xiperian advantage, their massive size, superior shielding, devastating plasma weapons, was being neutralized. On Earth, Admiral Lisa Carter observed her fleet through the command center displays. The humans were no longer defending, they were striking. Every hidden vessel, every shadowed formation, every experimental weapon system had been positioned with meticulous care. Colonel Barnes, signal all hidden elements. Begin Operation Mousetrap, Lisa ordered. Her voice was calm, yet carried the weight of decades of preparation. Let them realize they are not in control of this battle. Captain Ryan Davis, shadowed behind Jupiter, received the activation signal. 13 heavily modified vessels, disguised for years as cargo and mining ships, now revealed themselves. Their engines flared like avenging angels as they executed Strike Pattern Omega, targeting the Xaperian vessels closest to Earth. The alien flagship, Velter's Pride, had no way of anticipating the precision of human attacks. At the same time, Dr. Helen Murphy's cyber warfare team penetrated the alien command network. What they discovered was staggering. The Xaperian flagship had been reporting false victories to the Hegemony High Command. The aliens, overconfident and arrogant, had assumed complete dominance, but the reality was devastatingly different. Admiral, intercepted communications indicate that Velter has been lying to the Hegemony, Helen reported from her underground facility. They believe this battle is already won, yet their fleet is being destroyed systematically. Lisa allowed herself a small, grim smile. Perfect. No reinforcements were coming. Humanity's defenses had turned the tide, and the galaxy would not see it coming until it was too late. Meanwhile, Captain Carl Thompson monitored the quantum mine network from the experimental vessel Prometheus Guard. These mines, deployed months in advance, were the culmination of human ingenuity and theoretical physics. Quantum entangled and cloaked, they could track alien vessels regardless of stealth or shield strength. Network is fully operational, Lieutenant Steve Parker confirmed. Targets are locked. The quantum mines detonated like invisible flowers of destruction. Massive alien ships, once thought invulnerable, erupted in bursts of energy and debris. 2 vessels were destroyed instantly, 2 more crippled. Velter stared at his displays, disbelief clawing at his composure. They move with precision, he growled. These humans are not merely surviving, they are orchestrating everything. From the shadows of Jupiter, Ryan Davis's fleet struck again. Ships emerged from asteroid belts, moons, and the gravitational shadows of planets, revealing a network far more sophisticated than the Xaperian scouts had ever detected. On Earth, Colonel Patricia Moore coordinated cyber operations, deploying human hackers into every accessible alien network. Every vessel that remained operational was now vulnerable, its systems bombarded with viruses and interference. Communications and coordination collapsed under the assault. Colonel Moore, report, Lisa requested. Networks breached, Admiral, Moore replied. Alien ships are effectively blind to one another. They have no ability to coordinate attacks. Back on the Xaperian flagship, Velter's pride and confidence crumbled. His engineering officer reported system failures cascading through multiple ships. The humans were not just strong, they were adaptive, intelligent, and relentless. Captain Morrison, aboard Guardian, addressed the surviving Xaperian vessels directly. His voice carried across all frequencies, calm and authoritative. Commander Velter, your fleet is surrounded. Surrender now, and your crews will be treated according to the laws of warfare. The bridge of the flagship was silent. For the first time, Velter faced a species he had underestimated, a civilization that had not only anticipated his attack but had prepared countermeasures he could not comprehend. Human Morrison. How did your primitive species develop such advanced capabilities? He asked, voice tinged with disbelief. Jake's reply was broadcast for all to hear, Commander, you assumed weakness because we appeared weak. Humanity has been preparing for this moment since we first looked at the stars and wondered what else might be out there. While the main fleets clashed, Dr. Kevin Wright's teams boarded disabled Xaperian vessels, studying energy signatures, shield modulation, and weapon systems. Every scrap of technology revealed a new possibility. Human engineers adapted and integrated alien methods into experimental weapons, creating a hybrid arsenal that blurred the line between the possible and the impossible. Captain Danny Brooks's stealth vessel struck again, quantum torpedoes slicing through shields and hulls before the aliens could respond. Captain Angela Martinez's EMP squadron had crippled critical systems across the enemy formation. Each coordinated human action revealed meticulous planning, exploiting Xaperian arrogance and overconfidence. Even Velter's remaining ships, though still formidable, were now trapped. The humans had systematically jammed hyperspace entry points using interdiction technologies developed from theoretical physics and alien artifacts. No vessel could escape. The hunters had become the hunted. "Attempt to retreat, sir," Velter hissed. "We will regroup and report." "It's too late," said his navigation officer, panic evident in his wide black eyes. Hyperspace blocked. Every tactical advantage the Xaperians once held had been neutralized. Every strike they attempted was anticipated, every maneuver countered. Humanity's decades of preparation, technological development, and strategic foresight had culminated in a precise, devastating trap. Captain Morrison's task force tightened around the crippled vessels. His voice, calm yet commanding, echoed across the void. "Commander Velter, this is your final warning. Your fleet is defeated, and your crews are at our mercy. Surrender now." The alien commander's features contorted in anger, frustration, and disbelief. His supposedly superior fleet, the pride of the galactic hegemony, had been outmaneuvered and outsmarted by humans he had considered barely evolved. And yet, even in defeat, the humans offered a choice: surrender. No unnecessary destruction. No immediate slaughter. Just authority, reason, and mercy, a concept alien to most hegemony officers. Velter's voice, struggling with emotion through the translator, admitted defeat. "I surrender. Our fleet, under your custody. Treat us according to the laws of warfare." Human boarding teams quickly secured the surviving vessels. Scientists, engineers, and medical staff accompanied the teams, observing, studying, and securing technology while treating alien crews with care. The Xaperian soldiers were exhausted, demoralized, and awed by human restraint. Many admitted they had never expected resistance like this. Every civilization they had encountered had surrendered immediately, or been annihilated. They had never faced an enemy that could adapt, learn, and strategize. Admiral Carter reviewed intelligence gathered from captured officers. The galactic hegemony, once thought invincible, was vulnerable, overconfident, complacent, and unprepared for a species that had taken centuries of careful planning to evolve into a threat worthy of fear. And now, humanity possessed everything: advanced knowledge of alien technology, detailed fleet intelligence, and a first-hand understanding of the weaknesses of the hegemony. Humanity had crossed a threshold. No longer passive observers of the cosmos, Earth had declared its presence to the galaxy, not as a victim, but as a calculated, formidable power. The Xaperian survivors would carry that knowledge back, a cautionary tale of underestimated intelligence, meticulous preparation, and a species that refused to be prey. The silence after the battle was not peaceful. It was contemplative. The human fleet drifted among the wreckage of the Xaperian armada, a graveyard of metal and plasma energy that glimmered like distant stars. Captain Jake Morrison, now an admiral, stood on the observation deck of the newly fortified orbital fortress, looking at the remnants of what had once been the most feared fleet in the galactic hegemony. For the first time, humanity's leaders realized the full weight of their accomplishment. They had not just defended Earth, they had demonstrated that a species once considered primitive could challenge, adapt to, and overcome an empire. And in doing so, humanity had sent a message to every corner of the cosmos: Earth would no longer be prey. Commander Velter, still aboard his crippled flagship, studied the humans with a mix of fascination, fear, and reluctant respect. He had seen the efficiency, ingenuity, and moral clarity of the Terran forces. There was no malice in their victory, no gloating. Just precision, discipline, and the unyielding certainty that they would survive, and that the universe would take note. Captain Morrison addressed Velter directly, a calm voice in the void, "Commander, your fleet is disabled. Your crews will receive medical care and treatment. You will carry this message back to your leaders. Humanity will no longer be underestimated." The Zephyrian commander, exhausted and humbled, accepted the data pad containing detailed records of the battle. On it were energy signatures, weapon system schematics, shield configurations, and every detail the hegemony would need to understand Terran capabilities. Admiral Lisa Carter watched from Earth's Strategic Command Center as the final alien vessels, crippled and surrounded, were secured. For decades, she had prepared for this day, not for glory, but for survival. And now, humanity was ready for what came next. The expansion of influence, the protection of colonies, and the assertion of sovereignty. The Terran Defense Force moved quickly. Construction crews expanded orbital defense stations, integrating recovered alien technology with human innovations. Automated defense networks, cloaked facilities, and hidden weapons platforms extended humanity's reach throughout the solar system. Every contingency had been anticipated, every potential threat accounted for. Earth was no longer just a planet, it was a bastion of strategic strength, a center of galactic attention. Across the solar system, the surviving human commanders coordinated their next moves. Captain Julie Adams prepared Starhammer for its first mission beyond the solar system, targeting a lightly defended hegemony outpost. The operation was not about destruction. It was about presence. A calculated demonstration of Terran capabilities, signaling to all civilizations that humanity was no longer naive, vulnerable, or isolated. Meanwhile, engineers like Sam Johnson and Dr. Kevin Wright continued to analyze captured Zephyrian technology. Every fragment, every circuit, every energy pattern was a lesson in adaptation and innovation. Hybrid weapon systems emerged, combining human creativity with alien engineering. Humans were learning at a pace that shocked even the hegemony's own officers. Humanity's victory was not just tactical, it was philosophical. Where the hegemony had relied on fear, intimidation, and overwhelming force, humans had relied on intelligence, foresight, and moral clarity. Where the aliens saw weakness in the unknown, humans saw opportunity. And in that opportunity, humanity had transcended its previous limitations. Commander Velter, escorted to the surviving functional vessel, prepared to return home with a cautionary message. For the first time, he understood that intelligence was not measured by technological superiority alone, but by adaptability, creativity, and strategic foresight. Humanity had mastered all three. "Captain Morrison," he said, voice heavy with the weight of defeat and revelation, "your species is remarkable. The galactic hegemony will need to reconsider everything it believes about Terrans." Jake's reply was steady, measured, and diplomatic. "Commander Velter, you will tell your leaders this: Earth is under the protection of the Terran Defense Force. Any future aggression will be met with overwhelming response. We do not seek conquest, but we will defend ourselves, and others, from threats that would exploit weakness." Back on Earth, Admiral Carter looked out from the command center at the horizon of space. A new era had begun. The Terran exclusion zone was established, a sphere of space around human territory where aliens would tread only at their own peril. Humanity was no longer passive. Humanity was a power with vision, preparation, and the capability to execute it flawlessly. Captain Morrison, now promoted, reflected on what had been achieved. It was not just a military victory. It was a proof of concept, that a civilization with foresight, intelligence, and adaptability could survive and thrive even in a universe dominated by seemingly insurmountable forces. The stars were no longer distant mysteries, they were a stage for human ingenuity. And yet, the philosophical implications were undeniable. Humanity's emergence had shifted the balance of power. The galaxy, previously indifferent to Earth, would now watch with caution. Every species, every empire, every observer would need to reassess the Terran capacity for survival, strategy, and moral judgment. The universe had changed, subtly but irrevocably. Captain Julie Adams prepared to jump Starhammer into hyperspace, a symbolic and tactical move that would mark humanity's first interstellar military operation. The crew, trained in the hybrid technology of human-alien design, were ready for anything. The mission was precise: send a signal, gather intelligence, and establish a presence that could not be ignored. At the same time, construction crews across the solar system were already expanding defenses, readying for any eventuality. From orbital fortresses around Mars and Earth to deep space stations hidden in asteroid belts, every structure and vessel reflected decades of planning and a vision for the future. Humanity had learned from the aliens, adapted their knowledge, and integrated it into a philosophy of preparedness and resilience. Even as the surviving Zephyrian vessels departed, carrying intelligence and warnings, humanity's gaze turned outward. The first step beyond the solar system was only the beginning. Humanity had proven itself capable of defending its home, preserving life, and outsmarting a technologically superior foe. The galaxy now knew that Earth was no longer a backwater, no longer a target for exploitation. Admiral Carter and Captain Morrison convened with the remaining leaders of the Terran Defense Force. "The age of vulnerability is over," Carter said. "The age of Terran power has begun. Every future engagement, every alliance, every encounter with the cosmos will be defined by this moment." Captain Morrison gazed at the stars, knowing the real work had only just begun. Humanity had survived the test of fire. They had transcended the limitations of a young species and asserted themselves as a force capable of reshaping galactic politics, strategy, and morality. And for the first time, the universe would see Earth not as a small, primitive planet, but as a beacon of intelligence, foresight, and resilience, a civilization capable of surviving the storms of the cosmos and thriving in the shadows of giants. The Terran exclusion zone solidified around the solar system. Alien ships would think twice before approaching. Humanity had not just won a battle. They had rewritten the rules of engagement for all who might challenge them. Above Earth, in the orbital fortress overlooking the blue planet, Admiral Morrison's voice carried quietly over the comms: "Humanity is no longer prey. Humanity is the predator that prepares, adapts, and endures. Let the galaxy remember this day." The stars stretched endlessly before him. And for the first time in human history, they no longer represented danger alone, they represented opportunity, power, and the promise of a future defined by human ingenuity and courage. The era of Terran power had truly begun.